The FIA's goal of boosting Formula One's power unit roster hasn't gone exactly as planned. Audi stepped up to fill Renault's shoes, and Red Bull-Ford's partnership stands as the only true addition to the lineup. But Porsche, despite all the hype, they couldn't persuade Red Bull to let them take part without pulling strings, and that deal fell apart as fast as it came together. But here's where things get interesting. While Toyota's tie-up with Haas has captured the headlines, there's a much bigger twist. Cadillac is making moves. In an unexpected twist, it seems that Andretti Cadillac is getting a helping hand from none other than Toyota as they aim to break into Formula One by 2026, right when the sport ushers in its next big regulatory shakeup. Toyota's partnership with Haas serves as a blueprint for how Cadillac plans to enter the sport through collaboration. In fact, they have already approached an engine supplier to acquire their entire F1 power unit program with the intent of doing just that. Cadillac, a partnership between Andretti Global and General Motors Cadillac, made waves last year after securing FIA's stamp of approval to join the F1 grid. If they pull it off, they'd be the second American team to rev up in the world's fastest competition, a move that's sure to rattle a few cages. The decision to back Andretti Cadillac's entry into Formula One didn't sit well with most team principals, sparking heated debates across the paddock. Their main complaint: another team would just clog the already tight logistics, especially on circuits where squeezing in more than 10 teams feels as tricky as finding grip on a wet track. The opposition came swiftly, with nearly every principal voicing doubt about the need for another competitor on the grid. Following FIA's green light, the ball was passed to Formula One management, tasked with assessing whether Andretti had the financial horsepower to run a competitive team. Unfortunately for Andretti, F1 management hit the brakes on their bid, deciding that the team fell short of meeting the necessary financial benchmarks. But instead of slowing down, Andretti Cadillac has stepped on the gas. Despite the rejection, they've kept their eyes on 2026, pushing ahead with the development of their Formula One car. Determined to be ahead of the game, they've poured resources into their UK-based headquarters, which is now fully focused on their F1 project. And if you thought that was bold, reports suggest that they plan to have a chassis fully compliant with 2026 regulations, ready before this year's final lap. Now that's the kind of forward thinking that could make even the most skeptical teams look twice. Interestingly, Andretti Cadillac's bold moves coincide with Renault's decision to step back from their engine program. As the F1 landscape shifts, so do the key players. Renault has officially decided to part ways with its French-made power units, and starting in 2026, Alpine will be running Mercedes engines. This move is widely seen as Renault gradually pulling out of Formula One, with many speculating that a future sale of the Alpine team might not be too far down the road. Renault's high-performance power unit division in Viry-Châtillon had already poured substantial effort into their 2026 powertrain development, work that seemed destined to gather dust. But in a surprising twist, F1 journalist Joe Soward reports that Cadillac has recently acquired the intellectual property rights for Renault's 2026 engine. According to Soward, this tip-off came from a whisper by a highly reliable source, suggesting Cadillac might just take that engine development off Renault's hands and put it to use. This development could significantly bolster the Andretti Cadillac bid, particularly from the FIA's perspective. After all, the FIA has been eager to attract more global auto manufacturers to Formula One, and securing an engine with Renault's pedigree might give Andretti Cadillac the edge they need. However, convincing Formula One management and the existing teams to get on board is an entirely different story. Their resistance has already proven to be a formidable roadblock, and whether this engine deal can shift the gears in Andretti's favour remains to be seen. Joe Soward, commenting on Cadillac's acquisition of Renault's engine program, called the move entirely logical, although no one is ever going to admit such a thing. He draws parallels with previous instances in F1, like when Ferrari quietly snapped up Honda's V12 technology after their exit, or how Red Bull simply rebranded Honda engines when the Japanese manufacturer stepped away. Yet again, speculation is already swirling about the nature of this new Renault-Cadillac deal. However, pulling this off would require untangling the F1 operations from Renault's other motorsport projects at their Viry-Châtillon base. It's a complex move, but given the history of these types of acquisitions, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary. Renault's top boss, Luca De Meo, recently insisted that the Alpine F1 team is not up for sale. According According to Joe Soward, this stance is tied to a deal struck earlier this year with former F1 team owner Flavio Briatore. The ever-flamboyant Briatore reportedly has a contract with Renault to turn around Alpine's fortunes, and he's got until the end of 2026 to make it happen. Soward humorously notes that then it will be sold to the highest bidder. Briatore's mission is to improve the team's performance while cutting costs, with his reward not coming in the afterlife. Soward quips that it's doubtful he'd make it there anyway, but rather in the form of a hefty percentage from the eventual sale. Renault, of course, would pocket the rest, making this a potentially lucrative exit strategy for the French manufacturer. At the same time, the race commentator Scott Mitchell-Malm suggests Cadillac and General Motors may be exploring a backup plan for their Formula One entry should the Andretti bid stall. He claims they've already been in discussions with at least one team currently competing in the sport. While Mitchell-Malm doesn't name which F1 team might be involved, there's a chance this could be mere speculation meant to stir the pot between Andretti and Cadillac. However, if GM were to consider purchasing an existing team to pair with their own power unit ambitions, Alpine would now be the prime candidate. Before the Haas-Toyota partnership, Haas would have been the perfect marketing fit for Cadillac, given their American connection. Come 2026, Formula One is set for a radical shake-up. Andretti's efforts to stay ahead of the curve have reportedly been turbocharged by Toyota's aerodynamic expertise. Rumor has it that Andretti has been granted exclusive access to Toyota's state-of-the-art wind tunnel in Cologne, a treasure trove for fine-tuning aerodynamics. The team's chassis, designed to meet FIA's stringent frontal impact standards, is already in the pipeline for crash and load testing, a key step toward making their 2026 machine race ready. As if that weren't enough, Andretti is gearing up for a serious expansion. The team plans to boost its F1 workforce by 25%. This recruitment drive will push the team's capacity to a new level, ensuring they're fully equipped to hit the ground running. One key figure in the Andretti Cadillac saga is Michael Andretti, the driving force behind the bid. His dedication to making the team a reality has been unwavering, even in the face of setbacks. Andretti's decision to step down as CEO of Andretti Global earlier this year raised eyebrows, but insiders suggest it was a strategic move to allow the project to focus more intensely on its Formula One ambitions. Andretti is playing the long game, knowing that breaking into F1 is not a sprint, but a marathon. Cadillac's potential F1 entry goes beyond just fielding a team. It could change the entire dynamic of American involvement in Formula One. Haas may currently hold the title of the only American team, but their results have been mixed, and their identity as a true American outfit is sometimes debated, given their reliance on Ferrari for engines and technology. Andretti Cadillac, on the other hand, offers something different. Backed by one of America's biggest automotive brands, their entry into F1 would cement the country's presence in the sport in a way that Haas never has. With Andretti Cadillac making bold moves and even tapping into Toyota's expertise, do you think their potential F1 entry will finally break the gridlock and bring a true American powerhouse to the sport? Or will the resistance from current teams keep them stuck in the pits? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.